performed at the pre-construction site of the Great Palomar Observatory. Remember, at 33 degrees north, just south of here. They believed to be a great sexual center of the earth. Palomar was founded and managed by Caltech, which was also co-founded by none other than Jack Parsons, and in Spanish, Palomar also means the house to which a pigeon comes home. During the course of Parsons' friendship with Hubbard, Parsons naively imparted a vast amount of Crowleyan knowledge to Hubbard. Then Hubbard went on to steal Parsons' wife, Marjorie Cameron, and also his money through a phony business venture. Hubbard later claimed to be the successor to Crowley, the rightful successor, the great beast, but then also claimed at the same time to be working for naval intelligence in order, quote, to spy on these dangerous magicians within our very institutions. Gosh, I wonder what he could be talking about. It was shortly after this experience that Parsons grew darker in his methods and motives and started the now infamous Babylon working to literally create a child. Babylon actually means the gateway to the gods, which of course you know. The great whore of Babylon, which in Parsons' mind was to have balanced the aspects of our consciousness through sex, magic, and alchemy, was his intent. Crowley, at this point, then threw Parsons out of the order. In one of Parsons' rituals, he was revealed a sign. Now, this is from Kenneth Grant's book on what Parsons was doing in those so-called years when he was the favored son, ceremonially speaking, of Crowley. He, as part of this working, went into trances and saw things. At the time he received Liber 49, Parsons could not have been aware of certain letters written by Frater Occid, and there's a footnote, which came to light after Parsons' death. In them, Occid expressed doubt as to Crowley's having uttered the word of the Aeon of Horus because, having identified himself with the beast, he was speechless, and in some inexplicable manner, not yet clearly understood, the Aeon of Horus itself has become merged with the wordless Aeon. In the book of Antichrist, Parsons wrote describing the Black Pilgrimage, which he ostensibly took in this working, quote, "Babylon called on me again, and I began the last work, the work of the wand. And I worked for 17 days until Babylon called me in a dream in an astral working. Then I reconstructed the temple and began the Black Pilgrimage as she instructed. And I went into the sunset with her sign, and into the night past accursed and desolate places and cyclopean ruins." These are huge structures. "And so came at last to the city of Chorazin. And there a great tower of black basalt was raised that was part of a castle whose further battlements reeled over the gulf of stars. And upon the tower was this sign," which of course is the sign of hyperdimensional physics, and the exact place on Mars where Crowley's successors at JPL have put Pathfinder down. The sign of none other than the tetrahedron in a sphere, the most representative symbol of the entire hyperdimensional physics model, which is replicated in many forms in the layout of the Martian complex at Cydonia, as well as on our own lunar surface in the lunar crater Oort, which is, of course, how we found the lunar ruins. Parsons, remember, those were his words. That was his vision. He was shown something, and it has now ruled the space program. Parsons, the founder of JPL, persisted, and it was during one of these great experiments that he mysteriously died in a great explosion. No one then or now has been allowed to identify his body, and the records of his death and his practice are still classified by the U.S. Department of Defense. However, you may read many of his manuscripts from which much of this information has been drawn, which were written and published privately under the auspices of the various OTO lodges scattered around the world. You will not, however, find this crucial missing history of JPL in any official NASA press release or in documentation of existing planetary missions. From the pen of both Crowley and Parsons before they died, their ultimate goal was stated as nothing less than immortality itself, to continue their practice beyond this earth, ultimately extending into the great temple of space itself, in order to once and for all make communion with the gods a reality for them and all mankind. Unfortunately, judging by the astonishing evidence now being leaked from Pathfinder, that ultimate magical reality seems to have survived their passing to be alive and well inside the current NASA, only now reserved for initiates and members of the club. While we, the guys who were paying for the practice with multi-million-dollar missions to the planets, have to extrapolate from metaphor, symbolism, deep allegory, and of course from Scooby-Doo and Yogi. Now that you have glimpsed part of the apparent reason for the systematic hiding of the real solar system NASA and JPL have systematically explored and discovered across more than 30 years, the little-known occult history of JPL and its founder, Jake Whiteside Parsons, it is equally essential that you grasp the hard, reproducible, physical evidence on which the current claim is made that Crowleyan magic is indeed alive and well inside JPL and possibly the rest of NASA. And I'm going to show you this, if I can find where I put it, right? It's one of those things. Based on our decoding of this occult JPL tradition, Enterprise, over the last year, has apparently discovered a well-hidden pattern by which NASA has apparently been operating without knowledge of most of its non-initiated scientists or engineers for more than 30 years. This mission pattern, in turn, seems based on demonstrable Egyptian foundations in the Crowleyan occult. According to extensive computer analysis carried out and published by Enterprise over the last year on our website, throughout all of NASA's manned and unmanned space endeavors, all important milestones in space seem to have been driven by one primary mission function: to launch toward and or to land on, for instance, on Mars in 1976 or on the Moon in 1969 when Sirius, the dog star, Isis, or her consort Orion, Osiris, was positioned at 19.5 degrees or 33 degrees above or below the planetary horizon. This is the time of landing, 33 minutes after Neil and Buzz set the lunar module at Tranquility Base on the Moon. Sirius was exactly at 19.5, at which point Buzz Aldrin broke out a chalice and a wafer and conducted a religious ceremony in the lunar module on the Moon, I strongly suspect to Isis. He carried with him free Masonic emblems and ancillary material, which he then brought back and gave in a quiet ceremony of which we have photographs to the Freemasonic Temple in Washington, D.C., just a couple of blocks up from the White House. Isn't this interesting? And you thought we went to the moon because of the Russians. Gosh. This extraordinary celestial pattern has continued to the current Mars missions. Mars Pathfinder, which left Earth when Mars was 19.5 degrees above the Atlantic Ocean on December 4th and arrived on Mars on July 4th. And on the 20th, which of course is the anniversary date, they carried out another ceremony, which we'll show in a minute, on this important date, which also is the birth date of Osiris, Tammuz, etc., etc. By the way, Mars Global Surveyor, wonder how that fits in? Remember the solar panel that won't lock into position? Anybody want to guess what the angle is from the normal of the solar panel? 19.5 degrees. Sirius bears an overwhelmingly important place in all occult traditions. Crowley created the Astrum Argenteum,